Estée Lauder recently announced plans to cut up to 10,000 workers. The stated corporate objective is to restructure the business and accelerate a pivot toward AI-driven efficiency. The immediate financial goal is to save $1.2 billion annually and protect profit margins. On the day of the announcement, the stock popped 7% as Wall Street applauded the agility of the ledger. By reducing these 10,000 workers to a line item on an HR spreadsheet, the boardroom ignores their function as multi-dimensional sensors embedded in the physical markets the enterprise is trying to reach. Sacrificing these frontline human sensors to appease the corporate ledger severs the enterprise's connection to physical reality. It destroys the specific market intelligence needed to understand whether a market is thriving or failing. When executives hear this, the immediate reflex is to argue that internal data collection can replace human intelligence. They assume they can just send a digital pulse survey to their staff before they turn in their badges. But corporate surveys only ask about the tiny fraction of reality the company controls. They gather data on lipstick preferences, monitor regional foot traffic, and optimize store layouts. They ignore the economic foundation beneath those preferences. This creates what is known as fragmented identity. Our legacy information systems put artificial slices of a human into isolated silos. Estée Lauder sees the employee fragment. The utility company sees the ratepayer. The hospital sees the patient. Because no single system sees the whole person, the enterprise only measures its own isolated data points. They operate blind to the cracking macroeconomic foundation of their consumers' actual daily lives. Without access to the complete picture, corporations optimize their multi-billion-dollar supply chains and predictive AI models around hallucinated statistical averages. They assume regional disposable income is stable and that consumer profiles match their marketing predictions. But no one actually lives at the exact statistical average. Consider a scenario where regional sales abruptly drop. Estée Lauder's predictive AI looks at the data and misdiagnoses a product-market fit issue. So they fire the marketing agency, change the packaging, and lay off local retail staff. What the AI cannot see is the physical truth of that neighborhood. The local utility bill just spiked 40%. The local transit line is running on a 47-minute latency, and the community is drowning in localized debt. The beauty product did not fail. The foundation of the local market failed. This diagram shows the anchoring phantom. It illustrates the dangerous gap where a company perfectly optimizes its operations against a fake corporate average, while the physical economy beneath it collapses. Operating in this phantom gap secretly drains retained earnings. The enterprise is forced to spend 5 to 7 times more on customer acquisition, burning cash to replace consumers who no longer have the capacity to participate in the formal economy. To prevent this kind of model collapse, we need a third layer of the internet, the completion layer. It rescues predictive AI by providing the foundational element it lacks, cryptographically attested ground truth. Rather than blindly firing staff, the enterprise securely emits a cryptographic audit directly to edge devices. It poses a mathematical query to the local market, asking, "Our predictive models assume the average consumer here has stable liquidity, true or false?" The system provides an architectural guarantee of absolute privacy. The mass hides the individual. The enterprise never learns about an individual's specific commute or personal debt. No personal data ever leaves the phone. Instead, the frontline workers, acting as citizens and consumers, evaluate the interplay of their local economy as a whole against that corporate average. When a mathematically verified consensus is reached, the corporate average is updated to match the market exactly as it physically exists. Aligning corporate models with physical reality stops wasted marketing spend and provides access to new markets. This shifts focus from cost-cutting to structural growth. Globally, there are 4 billion people who are invisible to formal corporate ledgers. They are unbanked and participate in informal labor. This is dead capital, economic value that traditional statistical averages ignore. This chart compares the stagnant formal economy to the scale of the blind spot. There is over $7 trillion in unrepresented purchasing power sitting in these informal markets that traditional credit scores cannot track. Your frontline workers live in the geographic mesh with these invisible consumers. Together, they form a distributed network capable of validating the health of this hidden economy, a level of local granularity that a centralized data pool cannot achieve. When the average is corrected by ground truth, the result is a precise accounting adjustment. This is a mechanism for aligning financial models with real-world conditions. This flowchart illustrates Layer 3 operating on zero custody capital. The protocol holds no treasury. It routes the audited mathematical proof, while the enterprise routes the money. This proof provides the CFO independent justification to release trapped reserves through internal systems. True corporate agility requires aligning algorithms with the physical foundation of the economy. You cannot achieve organic growth by treating consumers as fragmented data points and firing the human sensors that live in their communities. It is time to stop the blind layoffs and audit the average.